Greetings and welcome back to the World Numismatic News' Cherrypicking Proof Set series. Right now we'll be looking at which variety coins you can pick up from the 1971 US Mint Proof Set that are worth good money. Starting off at the Lincoln Penny, there are actually a few varieties that you might be able to find. The first penny is one where you could detect significant doubling on the letters of Liberty, with all of the letters doubled very strongly towards the rim of the coin. This is actually a very rare variety coin, and if you are lucky enough to get an example with a cameo or even a deep cameo field, then it can fetch very handsome premiums. Further doubling is then also present on the letters of In God We Trust, with the In God We portion being the strongest in this respect. The effect of the doubling is rather unmistakable, distinguishing it nicely from the next two examples we'll be discussing in just a minute. It also shows signs of both distorted and pivoted hub doubling, making it an interesting compound example, but that falls well outside the scope of this presentation, so let's just leave that for now. In terms of value, it is also interesting to note that an additional cameo designation can affect the market perception of the coin rather dramatically. For instance, in 2023, a Proof 67 graded coin from PCGS was sold at auction for $456, which is a little below average, to be fair, but still not bad. In contrast, in 2019, a Proof 68 cameo coin, also from PCGS, was sold at auction for $4,583, practically 10 times as much. Then we have what most people will consider the headline or main double die obverse variety for the 1970 S Proof Penny. This time we have more classic distorted hub doubling, where most of the doubling on the obverse is seen towards the rim of the coin. With that in mind, all the letters of Liberty are doubled quite boldly towards the west. The I is almost completely doubled without achieving complete separation though. The letters of In God We Trust are also doubled towards the rim of the coin, and here the doubling is not nearly as dramatic as it was in the previous example. The easiest way to identify this variety though is by examining the date. Here the numbers are doubled seemingly towards the southwest. It is definitely the variety in which the date is doubled the strongest for this issue. In 2022, a Proof 69 Ultra Cameo NGC graded example was sold at auction for a closing price of $3,600. The last penny variety you can look for is also the least dramatic of the three listed here. And to be clear, there are actually 3 or 4 other similar varieties that exist as well, but those do not nearly have anywhere near the same level of market recognition, and as a result aren't quite as valuable. But the best doubling appears on the letters of In God We Trust. But this is not the same dramatic doubling that we've seen before. It takes the form mainly of additional thickness on the letters and mostly well-defined separation lines between the center of the individual letters. During early 2023, a PCGS graded Proof 67 cameo example of the coin was sold at auction for $408. From there, let's move on to the Kennedy half-dollar coin in the set. And again, here is an issue for which multiple variety coins are known. First up is a double die obverse example where there should be clear notching towards the top of the first number 1 in the date. This should be paired with clear separation lines that are seen in the flag of the number 7, and this effect should also again be repeated on the top flag of the last number 1 in 1971. The letters of In God We Trust should also be doubled very clearly, with the letters closest to the rim of the coin doubled more dramatically than those closer to the center of the coin, due to the effects of the rotated hub doubling that we see on this coin. And then finally, some additional doubling on the letters of Liberty should then also be detected. The base of the letter B is a good example of this. In 2020, a PCGS graded Proof 67 example of this variety was sold at auction for $99, making it the least valuable variety on the list, but that's still at least probably 10 times the average price of the proof set itself. Another variety coin that can be found on the 1971 S 50-cent coin is an example of pivoted hub doubling. It is very slight though, and displays merely as separation lines on the letters of "We Trust," with the tail of the R, the U, and the S being the clearest indications of the doubling on this coin, along with similar indications on the serifs of the letter T of trust. It is a lot more subtle when compared to the previous example especially. In addition to this, the last number 1 should be doubled much in the same manner. This coin is a bit of a mixed bag, as it seldomly appears on the market and prices can vary wildly when it does. In 2013, a coin graded as Proof 68 Cameo by PCGS was sold at auction for $705. The last double die obverse variety for the Kennedy half-dollar coin to be found in this set that is worth a mention for the purposes of this presentation is seen here now. For the doubling on this coin, look towards the letters of "We Trust." You should see notching on the serifs of the S and both of the letters T, along with the flag of the serifs of the last number 1 of the date, which should display similar doubling, and round that off by looking at the serifs of the Y in Liberty, which should have clear notching, both towards the top and the bottom of the letter. This one is not as well known and a little harder to find, but again, that could also lead to higher premiums as a result. But in 2021, this coin was sold at auction online, slabbed by PCGS as Proof 67 for $1,307. Now, I'd like to mention just one more half-dollar variety before moving on. This is a double die reverse variety, not the strongest doubling, and no, not even a very popular coin either, but it does give you another opportunity to cherry-pick something more valuable from your 71 proof set. So, look towards the bottom of the letters of $half, especially the DOL part of dollar. You should see signs of doubling on the inside of those letters, oriented towards the north. In 2016, we saw an example of a Proof 67 coin graded by PCGS that sold at auction for an impressive $2,585. Then, after that, we can move along to the Jefferson nickel and the varieties you can find there. First up is a double die reverse coin. This is without a doubt the most subtle variety on this list, as most of the doubling is displayed merely in the form of additional thickness towards the letters. On the letters S of pluribus, though, you should see clearer signs of doubling, and the letters of Monticello and cents are definitely thicker than they really should be, with the letters of cents at least showing split ends or notching on the various serifs of those letters. Some doubling is then also detectable on the right side of the letters of America. In 2022, a coin like this was sold online, graded by PCGS as Proof 66 for the sum of $137. And then, the final entry on this list is without any doubt the most famous coin. This is the 1971 No S Proof Nickel, a coin that quite simply lacks the customary S mint mark that should be on a proof coin like this from 1971. Look in the space between the date and Jefferson's hair tie. If there is an S mint mark, then it is just a regular proof coin. But if there is no S mint mark, then it is a rare variety. Now again, this has to be the proof coin from the proof set and not just any regular business strike coins. In 2023, a 1971 proof No S Jefferson nickel was sold at public auction, housed in a PCGS slab with the grade of proof 69 deep cameo. It was sold for the final closing price of $8,100. So those are all of the variety coins worth looking for in your 1971 US Mint proof set, at least all the ones that would be fairly easy to sell for a decent premium. If you liked this, then consider watching a similar video about the 1970 proof set next, and subscribe to WNN. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.